A grand jury is a secret proceeding, and I think this case is important. I think officer-involved shooting cases are important across the country, where we want to share all of that information with the public.
And with those words, history will not repeat itself in our state. Bernalillo County District Attorney Kari Brandenburg is doing things differently and with a really big case.
Her office has filed murder charges against 2 APD cops who shot and killed James Boyd last year. That means no grand jury process and more transparency. So what does all of this mean to all of us? We're covering all of the angles for you tonight with team coverage. We're going to start with Stuart Dyson, live at the District Attorney's office.
Stu, exactly how is the DA planning to move forward with this case, with this decision?
Well, guys, the DA wants to do a preliminary hearing in open court where a judge will then decide if the evidence is strong enough to put the 2 cops on trial. It won't be up to a grand jury meeting in secret to make that decision. Longtime District Attorney Kari Brandenburg won't discuss the evidence in the case, but she does believe there's enough to persuade a judge.
We think that there's evidence that gives us the legal standard probable cause. We've always said that if we can meet that standard, we will go forward. We believe that we can meet that standard, and we are going forward.
We do know some of the evidence. There's the lapel camera footage of the James Boyd shooting itself and the audio recording of Officer Keith Sandy 2 hours earlier when he apparently told another cop he wanted to shoot Boyd. Last month, APD revealed that it was investigating Brandenburg for attempting to bribe witnesses in a case against her troubled son, Jason Koch. Some have speculated it was an attempt to scare her away from charging the cops with murder.
Well, you know what? I'm going to let you guys speculate to that. I have been elected to serve as district attorney. I am going to serve as district attorney. I'm going to give the public my best efforts, and I'm not going to be intimidated. As long as I have a breath in my body, I will do what I think is right for the people that I represent.
Brandenburg has denied doing absolutely anything wrong in her son's case. He is a drug addict with a history of burglary and theft. Back to you.
Thank you, Stuart. The James Boyd shooting incident happened shortly before the Department of Justice slammed APD for having a history of using excessive force. The DOJ ordered the city to overhaul and reform our police department. That includes new training, better supervision, and new rules for investigating police shootings. The settlement between the 2 is almost a done deal, but before a federal judge gives it final approval, he's invited anyone with an opinion to speak up. The briefs will be heard before the court on January 21st.
Now, Keith Sandy has retired from the Albuquerque Police Department, and that went into effect in November. So since Sandy already retired, he would still get his pension if he was convicted. Now, as for Officer Dominic Perez, he is still with the police department, but he's been on administrative leave since that shooting back in March.
This is the first time Brandenburg has ever directly filed charges against an officer for shooting someone. And she's opted to bypass the grand jury, as we've been talking about. Ryan Luby is live at the Bernalillo County Courthouse to explain why that is so significant. Ryan, I'm sure some people are wondering if the Ferguson case, for instance, had an impact here.
Well, Tom, you would certainly think that. Remember, prosecutors in the Ferguson, Missouri case went through a grand jury process that was not very transparent. They took a lot of heat as a result of that. But Brandenburg says this case, even the one in New York City involving the death of Eric Garner, did not play a role in her decision on this one. Bottom line, the case here will be transparent. None of it will be done in secret. Her office will present the whole case in open court to a judge for everyone, including us and you and me, to listen to it. We'll see the lapel camera video undoubtedly, and we'll hear testimony from both sides.
And I think this case is important. I think officer-involved shooting cases are important across the country, where we want to share all of that information with the public. We want them to see it as it's unfolding. I think that that's critical, to be transparent, and I believe that that will be part of the healing process.
Well, Brandenburg is now in the national spotlight for making this decision, but she faces other serious questions like, what about those other officer-involved shootings, and how is this case any different than those? Well, tonight at 6 o'clock, she'll explain why they are different, and she tells us why she believes that her office was just as transparent with those cases then as she is with this one now. For now, we're live downtown. I'm Ryan Luby, KOB Eyewitness News 4.